Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to Elite Dangerous Horizons. These are my deep space landing expeditions, and this is a very nice little planetary nebula very close to home. Any of you wanting to come out this way could be here in around about 40 minutes. It's just 1,000 light years away from Sol. So if you're on the outer edge of the bubble, it will take you even less time than that. Now what's quite unique about this place is that it has a nice bluey green hue to the nebula around it. And the central star is a large blue-white one, giving everything a lovely tint here. Something you don't quite see anywhere else, something that's pretty darn unique. There's a whole ton of landable planets and moons here, as you saw just a moment ago on the system map. This is one of the first in the system, quite close to the parent star. Whilst there's no fog or anything like that in this ring system, they're still well worth a visit due to the unusual lighting here. Now, down on the planet, the story was again very similar. The surface here is fairly plain as far as some of the other surfaces go I've seen, but the lighting here is very unusual indeed, and seeing the star hang there on the horizon was quite a nice sight indeed. So, what were we going to find in terms of points of interest out here? No doubt a bunch of shipwrecks, but hopefully something far more interesting than just that. I've taken recently to looking for points of interest while in my SRV. You can fly over the surface of the planet using your ship, and like we've seen before, they do spawn in these big red circles or blue circles if you're using the default HUD colours. Now, points of interest do spawn also when you're driving around in your SRV, so you can just stay out here like this, just keep driving around until you come across something, because sooner or later you will indeed come across something interesting. Now, this was the first time I've ever found anything quite like this in a point of interest. From a distance I wasn't quite sure what it was, but as soon as I got nearby I knew exactly what it was. For those of you that didn't recognise it there on the brief glimpse, this is a nav beacon. These are the things that are actually usually located right near suns. How it got here though is anybody's guess. It's fairly intact, although the outer shell is fairly damaged. Quickly shooting this sentry here just to get rid of it, because once I get up close it was no doubt going to attack. I wanted to get up close though to be able to see exactly what it looked like. Now if you listen here, it sounds like there's all sorts of things going on in there. Firstly, it sounds like there's a party in there. You can hear the distant drone of music. Then there's the crackling of audio. But beneath that, you can just about make out some Morse code. This is something that nav beacons tend to do anyway. They usually, as far as I understand, broadcast their location or the star they're right parked next to or orbiting next to, and they do that in Morse code. Now, I don't actually understand Morse code, so I can't interpret what this one's actually saying. I'd be interested though if this is broadcasting its current location or if it's simply broadcasting the star that it should be orbiting. Now, this would actually be very nice to know, because it would tell us if these nav beacons were completely random or if they have some sort of purpose to them. So if anyone does know Morse code and has been near one of these nav beacons, perhaps you could get an interpretation for it. That'd be pretty good. At any rate, if we use the data scanner on it, we are issued a bond which we can hand back in. In that case, I think it was the Alliance. Here I found something else. It looked like a down satellite or a down drone of some type. Again, it issues a data packet when we scan it. This one I could hand in at the Empire. Not a significant amount of money in either case, but at least they were quite interesting finds, the nav beacon especially so. At this point I'd been down on the planet quite a while, so it was time yet again to move on. Really enjoyed the look of the ring systems here. Always nice to see something like that just hanging on the horizon. Now, my intent in this system was to actually go from planet to planet. I wanted to start at the first planet near the star and work out to the furthest planet away in this system. But there's a lot of landable planets here, and in the end I decided just to land on the most interesting looking ones instead. Unfortunately though, as far as I could see, none of these had huge deep craters or massive mountains. They were mostly the plain type landscapes filled with craters, albeit tinted with fairly unusual colours. There was the green one we just landed on, and this one here was blue. In both cases a natural effect of the ambient light around here. Now further into the system, actually right across the other side of the system, there was another star, and orbiting that star were another bunch of planets. The first one here looked remarkably interesting due to these rather fluorescent green looking canyons here, but unfortunately as we get down closer to them, that green disappears. Now I was hoping to actually be able to land down there and find myself in this neon green mist, so it was rather disappointing to see it actually disappear as I come into glide mode. I've no idea why that is or what would cause it, but at least the land here had some fairly interesting looking geological features to it. I actually mentioned in my previous video that my plan was to head once again toward the galactic core, but I've still got my other character out that way, so I think what I'm going to do with this one is head towards the outer rim, get to the very edges of the galaxy. There's some actually very nice looking nebula out that way. In particular NGC 7822 is on the route, and I haven't been there for a very long time. There should be some very nice planets to land on there, and the place is actually chock full of black holes. It's only around 7,000 light years away, so really shouldn't take all that long to get to. If any of you actually want to come to this particular system though, this planetary nebula, it is BD121172. I'll put the name in the video description, but you can actually also see it on the system map at the start of this video. It's also en route to Barnard's Loop, so if you want to head out that way, this is a good stop-off point. For me then, I plan on making this quite a long journey. I've actually brought 4 SRVs with me just in case I get some destroyed, which allows me to carry on, but it has dropped down my jump range a little bit. It's only 29 light years, although I can probably make up for that with synthesis boosts. For now though, that brings us to the end of this very quick look at this lovely looking planetary nebula. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to Exploring Elite Dangerous episode 39. I'm right out here, as you know, on the opposite side of the galactic core, and I'm trying out a few planetary landings here. This is a high metal content world, a very good place for picking up resources for synthesis in order to power both your ship and your SRV. Now I'm not doing it just yet, but in short order I will be wanting to pick up some synthesis items so I can boost my FSD jump drive and hopefully get back home to Earth that much faster. It may also help me get to those systems that are normally hard to reach, or perhaps even impossible to reach under normal circumstances.